Good morning, Dad.
Good morning. Sorry, I'm late. I got hung up. I forgot I was supposed to be here, and I never got dressed so fast in my life. Thank God I took a shower. Nobody can tell I smell.
Did you brush your teeth?
I brushed my teeth.
Oh, well, that's all. That's all.
I can't do it without brushing my teeth.
Right? Starting your day. I wanted to say one of the things that you said last week, which was interesting, was people should not feel bad for wanting to be rich.
Correct. Somehow or other, our society has made being rich a crime.
So today I thought we would talk about wealth. That would be the topic today.
Okay.
You had humble beginnings in New York City.
Raised by an immigrant grandmother.
Right.
I'm probably one of the last generation
That's true.
of Americans, Anglo-Americans, raised by a immigrant.
And so I guess
I should say Anglo, white and African-American
Right.
Immigrants, probably one of the last ones raised by a foreign-born person. 0 to 13, I was raised by my grandmother.
Yeah.
So a whole different perspective.
I was going to say that perspective, I guess, how did that shape you when it comes to like wealth or like being rich?
Watching them struggle and try to make it, and they did fairly well, but they were constantly knocking rich people.
Yeah.
As if being rich was some kind of crime. And when I talked about trying to do better and gain wealth, and they sort of knocked me back. Nah, what do you want to do that for? I wanted to buy a house when I was 21. I had the money to buy a brand new house.
Right.
They were selling for $9,999 in Haverstraw, New York, a townhouse. And I wanted to buy one. And my family thought I was crazy, and they convinced me not to do it.
Really?
Which was the wrong advice. So they had this typical European socialistic attitude.
Right.
And they were all union guys. And my two uncles one uncle who lived with me and my grandmother part of the time, they had that typical union, being rich was not a good thing. People that had money weren't nice. My mother was a salaried person, always knocked people who were doing well. So they always knocked people who were doing well. And I said, I want to be like them. The people that are doing well.
Yeah.
Will my own family knock me if I do well?
Yeah. I mean, there's like different levels of like doing well, right? I mean, there's different levels of wealth. I mean, for you, I guess, what was your goal in life when it comes to like wealth and money?
Starting out was having enough money to go out and play.
Women, right? It was all about
going out to nightclubs, hanging out.
Right.
And then when I met your mom, having enough money to buy ourselves a house.
Yeah.
And then making sure we had enough money for your sister to go through school. And when you were born, make sure we had enough money for school.
Yeah.
And money to live on, and then take some vacations. And then later on, putting money aside for when we got older.
Yeah.
So those were always the goals. But my family never thought that way. Never thought about taking a vacation. Never. That we had a house out in the country. That was the vacation. We went away. Why would anybody want to go on a vacation?
But I feel like...
And they never even put a lot of money into improving the house.
Yeah. But I feel like your goals are not like crazy goals. I mean, they're very like simple yet life attainable goals, I guess.
Yes, but a lot of people at the bottom end think that those goals are for rich people, not for them. They've been led to believe by the National Democratic Socialist Party in this country that to be out of the projects isn't the best thing in the world.
Interesting. Well, I think one of the...
Without naming names, a friend of mine's wife, she came out of the projects and became a doctor because her family's goal was to get out of the projects.
Right.
The people that are in there, some of them are in their third and 3 and 4 generations living in public housing. That was never the idea. Public housing was a stepping stone, not there for 3 generations.
Yeah.
But the Democratic Socialist National Party has convinced these people that that's the best they're ever going to get. They've been brainwashed.
And I think one of the ways...
and they look down on people like us who don't have those same goals.
That's true. True.
They think we're stepping on them. They don't understand that they've been told that we're going to step on them to get out.
Right.
And we're not. We're all going to come out of there together, or we're going to go up it separately.
Yeah, why is like wealth, and I'm just wondering, like, has it always been there? Like, why is wealth a bad, or being rich, and I'm putting that in air quotes, a bad thing?
Yeah, because all the immigrants, a lot of the immigrants that came here, a lot of them came from a socialist background.
But they came here for a better life.
Yeah, but not to be wealthy.
Okay.
Some, very few did. Most of them just came here for a better life.
But better life to them was
food on the table for 3 meals.
Yeah.
A job every day. Not even owning their own house, having an apartment.
But that's just carried over generation to generation, like that being rich is a bad thing.
Well, no, the next couple of generations started to change their mind.
Right.
But some of that still hung in. Because the liberals are really, because the liberals control the colleges.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say liberals, the socialists control the colleges.
Yeah.
So their idea is we'll all be equal. Everybody's the same. We'll all spread the wealth around. It doesn't work. There aren't enough rich people to come to earn enough money so that the poor people at the bottom can move up. They're not going to move up. They move up a little bit, but not a lot.
One of the ways that I think I've always found interesting that you've attained wealth, and that I find is even easier now just with like the use of apps and online, is the idea of stocks and trading stocks. And I'm just wondering, like, when did you start to play in stocks?
16. I told you that the last time. I was 16.
Right. Yes.
I was working, and you could not have an account. So my mother opened an account, and I put the money into that account.
Yes.
It was a mutual fund account, which was a terrible thing to do.
Yeah.
But it was every month I put $25 away because I was also working.
But like, what made you? I mean, you've played around with like.
Because I wanted to be better than where I was.
Yeah.
And I saw that as a way.
So
because in those days, the New York Times gave free newspapers to schools.
Okay.
So when you went to school, there were a lot of editions of the New York Times floating around. You could read for free. I used to read the New York Times. My family read the Daily News.
Yeah.
Because my 2 uncles worked for the Daily News.
Yeah.
I took it when I was 11. I took a picture of it, and I ended up selling it to the Daily News for $15 for flyer. You know, because my uncle was a photographer. He knew how to get me through the system.
Right.
But I was interested in watching the people that made money, not the people who didn't.
Yeah.
The people that interested me when I was 16 were the kids whose parents were doing better.
Yeah, I mean, for young people though, with like investing, I mean, how would you?
No, I'm not. I couldn't even begin to tell them because I've lost a lot of money too. Just buy good stock. Start young and buy blue collar, blue chip type stock, and put the money in. Buy stock that pays dividends.
Yeah.
Put the money in and forget about it. Keep putting money in. Don't think about it. Just put it in.
Yeah, I mean, there is a gamble, so to speak, with stocks.
And take some money and gamble. Take a higher flyers. Take more risky stock. But most of them put the money away. Just keep putting it away. Start when you're 16.
Yeah. What about?
Think about all the shit you young people buy. All the shit these people buy.
Yeah.
These computers, this gadget, that gadget. If they took that money, every one of these fucking gadgets that they buy, which is obsolete in 3 years.
Oh, absolutely.
And put that in to the company that makes it.
Right.
I don't want to own some thing that you talk into and it turns your lights on. Buy the company that thing is.
What a concept, right? I mean, that's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, you taught me that. Because you told me about Uggs when you were 12 years old. Daddy, you're going to buy stocks in this company.
It was Nike.
And no, it was Ugg boots.
Was it?
Yes.
I remember Nike when I was like 12 or 10.
Yeah, you told me about Nike too. So I'm saying, young people, you guys know what people, don't buy the goddamn device, man. Buy the company that makes it.
Yeah. What great
and you can tell everybody. I don't talk to them, and I own that company.
Yeah.
Because you do.
Yeah.
You own a piece. The schmucks that buy it and put it on their nightstand, turn on my lights. Get the fuck out of here. Get up off your ass and turn the light on. Or turn the light off. Come on. Buy the company. Then you got a piece of the rock, man. I think the whole thing's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I do.
Okay. I know.
You're going to tell this piece of fucking plastic to turn the water or do some kind of bullshit, vacuum my house. This little thing that's 12 inches down and runs around, vacuums. Get the fuck out of here, please.
Yeah. Buy the stock instead.
Buy the stock instead. Absolutely.
Buy the stock. What about?
And you can tell the schmucks that, God, look, I own that company. Oh, you do?
Yeah. What about, so in terms of like investing, what do you think about real estate when it comes to making money?
Good one, too, but I never had the guts to do it. because I never had the guts to have to. I knew I couldn't throw somebody out of an apartment that didn't pay the rent, especially some woman and a kid.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. So I knew real estate wasn't for me.
But it's a good investment, you think?
It is, but you got to be prepared to, when someone doesn't pay the rent, what are you going to do?
What about
It's like these people
flipping?
that eat meat, but they won't kill an animal. That's ridiculous.
What about flipping? Like the idea
Flipping
of
too,
flipping.
but that takes a lot of experience. I mean, you got to, it takes a lot of experience. You really got to know the neighborhood, the market. That takes a lot more experience than somebody 20 years old isn't ready to do that, I don't think. Unless they really got a good insight.
Yeah. Do you think early retirement is attainable in this day and age?
Yeah, more so now than ever.
Why?
Because there's investments out there that can make that happen. But you've got to learn, if you want to do early retirement, to dial back some of your economic expectations of what you need to live.
Right.
You don't need all the gadgets to live.
Right.
Okay? You don't. You don't need an iPhone to live.
Yeah.
How did we make it? I made it for 38 years with a house phone. I ran a business with a house phone.
Right.
How did you do it? How did I do it? How did you run a business with a house phone? You say, well, it can't be done today. I can do you. The young people don't need it. They don't need a phone. That's a lot of money. But why? Why do they need a phone for?
I know there is a movement for people to go to like flip phones that are just doing them for calls, and then they're getting away from all that. So I mean, it's totally. But
I'll bet you I can prune anybody's budget back $100 a month.
Yeah. And that could go towards your retirement.
You want to retire early,
or,
you got to start. You got to buy. Like I've always told you,
Yeah.
you don't buy what you can afford.
Right.
You buy less than you can afford,
Right.
not more than you can afford.
Right.
Then you've always got a little cushion, and that's important. If you want to retire,
Yeah.
that's really important. Start looking around now where you want to go.
Yeah.
Where do you think you want to go? Start traveling there.
Right.
Maybe buy a piece of property there.
Right.
But buy something there so that starts the ball rolling for when you retire. You got to maybe possibly pay it off. And if you change your mind, you sell it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm curious, when I do say the word wealth, I mean, what does that mean to you?
Comfort.
Comfort.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. I think people have this, illusion of like the air quote of being rich, right?
That's because television.
And right, it totally is, because like it's so like there's people who are always going to be richer than you or less. Like there's a whole. It's just.
Comparatively speaking, what's the guy's name that owns the news cable thing? What's the company now? No, Elon Musk. The guy. What's the stuff everybody buys thing? The site everybody buys stuff on.
eBay.
Amazon.
Jeff Bezos. Yeah.
In reality, Donald Trump is a poor man.
To him, yeah.
Compared to Bezos, Donald Trump is poor. Donald Trump is at the bottom end.
Right.
Of the spectrum
right.
compared to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody
right.
here at the top end, somebody at the bottom end. And Trump and a lot of other billionaires compared to him at the bottom end. Forget millionaires. I'm starting with Bill. Okay, millionaires are even lower down a bit. So that's bullshit. Don't worry about that.
Well, and I'm just thinking out loud when, the whole idea of like being rich and wealthy is bad. Can it be that like, because envy is a very
my grandmother said, okay, I was raised.
I'm just thinking about
I was raised by an Italian woman. Okay,
right.
There's a certain number. There's a thing that says
7 cents.
Okay, and my grandmother always said the worst one was envy.
Yeah.
Envy and greed. Those are the two things that could really torpedo anyone's life. Envy and greed.
And I guess those two things definitely fall into wealth.
Absolutely. Right.
So,
how much money do you really need?
How much money? And for you, I feel like you had, when you went back to your goals, I feel like you had a good head on your shoulders of like what you really need.
Well, for me, it's easy. I go back to my apartment. I go back to an apartment in the Bronx.
Right.
I was there already.
Right.
You ain't going to kill me. I can go there. I eat my 3 meals. Be back in an apartment in the Bronx.
Right.
For somebody who lives in suburbia their whole life.
Yeah.
Okay, mommy and daddy's taking care of everything.
Right.
They got a problem.
Yeah.
Where are they going to go back to? The basement in their mother's house.
Yeah.
I go back to the apartment in any inner city and I'll make it.
Right.
They can't.
So I'm just to like close it up about wealth though. I'm just thinking like when it comes to that, like what do you say to I hate to say kids, but like 20, 30 something folks?
Start looking to put money away. Start cutting back on your expenses.
Yeah.
You increase your wealth,
Right.
your personal wealth, not by buying these fucking gadgets,
Right.
okay, but by putting that money in the company
Yeah.
that owns the gadget. That's how you increase your wealth. That's how you become wealthy.
Right.
By owning the company of the gadgets you got all around your house.
Yeah.
Start doing that, and then you'll increase your wealth.
Great advice, Dad.
Thank you.
This was a good one. Thanks. Talk to you soon.